What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is another one which I hope brings across a level of transparency that I always try to relay on videos on this channel. Because as you know, the whole point of this channel is to try and help music producers, no matter what stage they're at in their music producing journey, to become a full-time music producer and earn a living from the passion that we love so much. And when I was thinking of the topic of this video, I really wanted to try and hit some home truths which I do believe could be holding you back from becoming not only a better music producer, but maybe also furthering your journey to become a more successful producer as you go along. So for this video today, I have come up with a list of 5 mistakes that you could be making as a music producer. Now, the quick disclaimer I want to chuck on this video is this comes from a standpoint of opinion only. None of this is gospel, but based on what I've heard, what I've seen, how producers have interacted with me, trying to sell stuff to me, stuff I've done wrong in the past, all of this together has culminated to this list of 5 points which I feel like could be holding you back. So as a quick disclaimer, this is no indirecting at anyone in particular or making digs at anyone in the music industry trying to sell with their craft. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can watching this video to become a better music producer, entrepreneur and businessman when it comes to creating and selling a music service. So with that disclaimer out the way, let's get into the 5 mistakes that I see music producers make which could be holding you back from becoming a better beat seller, music producer, songwriter in the music industry. Okay, so
let me talk to you.
Mistake number 1 that we are talking about is untargeted DMing. This is something that I have been subject to a lot recently, mainly through producers trying to sell me loop kits, or be offering a collaboration where they've made a beat to upload to my beat store and split 50-50. Whatever the situation, the main problem that I'm seeing a lot of producers doing is it's completely untargeted, and you can tell it's very spammy in the way that they're doing it. Now, the best example I can give is I am a pop producer. Everything I do fits under the pop umbrella. So I'm sure you'd understand every time I'd be surprised when someone's messaging me with loop kits for different genres like trap and drill, or someone is reaching out to me like a producer saying, hey, I love your stuff. I've made this beat which I think will go great on your channel. It's a drill type beat. Let's upload it onto there and then we'll split it 50-50. And my reaction to that is,
How about no?
and the reason why it's always a very strong no for me is because you clearly have not taken the time to look into what I'm doing as a music producer to actually see if the product you're trying to sell will be a good fit for me. So taking no consideration to me at all, which if you think sounds big of me, it's not. It's just when you're trying to sell something to someone, you need to make sure it's actually something they're interested in. For example, you wouldn't try and sell coffee to someone who is a solely tea drinker, and at the same time when there is people out there who you could target who drink just coffee. You need to stop thinking that it's the quantity that garners results. It's not, it's the quality. Put it this way, if I'm a music producer and I'm trying to sell pop beats to artists, I would have a lot better success a day messaging 100 pop artists offering my beat than I would be messaging 1,000 random artists in all genres trying to get downloads on my beats. 99% of the time, people can tell when it's just a spam message that you sent to loads of other people. So really try to do the research on people that you message and actually see if the product you're trying to sell to them will be good to them. If not, you're just wasting their time and you're wasting your time. Okay, mistake number 2 that I see people not doing is posting consistently. Nowadays, social media is the best traffic driver to anything. Whether you have a website, a loop store, beat store, whether you have a YouTube channel that you try to earn from, all the traffic that you get probably mostly is driven through social media of some kind, whether it be through TikTok, whether it be through Instagram, whether it be through YouTube, whether it be the sort of content you're making, short form, long form. Nowadays, if you want to try and network and reach out and have other artists find you, you need to be posting regularly, because you can't just rely on creating an Instagram account, for example, and that being satisfied, because no one's going to find you unless you actually start putting yourself out there. I found very good success when it comes to custom beat making from doing little beat breakdowns on short form content, TikTok and Instagram, where I've posted them probably once a day, and then people after have been messaging me and I've got custom beat making work based off of that, because every single post you do is basically an ad. And unless you want to go and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on Facebook ads to try and target the right people, best way that you can be advertising your services is through social media. Now, if you're on websites or freelance sites, they have algorithms, and again, it's the same thing. There's always things you could be doing. If you're on BeatStars and you want to sell more beats, you should be uploading beats as consistently as possible, not as much as possible. There's a difference between as much and as consistently as possible, because consistently takes into consideration the quality of the beat and the quantity of the beat you're uploading. So you need to get yourself in a path to make sure your beat store is always updating and thriving. And if you sell freelance services, you always need to be updating the SEO of your gigs to keep it relevant and making sure you're always trying to improve things. So yeah, don't be a ghost in the social media world. Make sure you're offering yourself out there, increasing your exposure and making yourself known. Okay, and mistake number 3 that I see made quite a lot is expecting the industry to reward you for being in it, which is just not the case. I'll even admit, when I left university after doing a degree in sound production, there was a level which I expected, even just having a degree in music production, to be able to get a job in a studio. But that really wasn't the case, and I got increasingly frustrated when I'd apply for jobs in studios and they were expecting experience. And then the whole argument is, how can I get a job straight out of uni when I've got this degree in music production, yet they're asking for 5 to 10 years experience, which I clearly don't have. And it isn't until you realize that there is a whole reason why people garner experience more than something like a degree. It's because you've used them years to prove yourself as a producer, and that will be through working hard, whether it be increasing your CV, your portfolio, to have something to show for your presence in the industry, or you've taken the time to network and to start building a client list of people that you can keep reaching out to and networking with to hopefully one day work with them. That's the way you got to do it. Because put it this way, if you just sit on your degree, or maybe you could be the best music producer in the world, but no one knows it because, again, you don't put yourself out there. And the most important thing as well is, even if you work hard for years and years and years, you're still unfortunately not entitled for anything. Don't wait for any sort of luck to come upon you. You've got to create your own luck and put yourself into situations where you can increase the likelihood that something is going to stick. And that comes a lot of the time through being consistent, networking, always trying to improve the quality of your output, and finding new trends and new ways to maximize your potential growth as a producer. And this ties into mistake number 4, which I see a lot of people making, and this can be a byproduct of sometimes the entitlement that can become too much for someone, and that is becoming a little bit of a hater or a little bit jealous towards other people and their success. I'm very fortunate where I don't get too many hate comments on this channel or on my Instagram account, but a lot of the bigger producers with big followings tend to get a rather large amount of hate just for posting content or what it is that they're doing, and I just don't think that's a good mindset to get yourself into. I completely understand that sometimes you can see someone doing something exactly the same as you, or it could not even be as good as what you're doing, whether it be content, the type of music that's getting produced, but then unfortunately you're stuck in this position where they are doing so much better than you with something that's very similar to what you're doing, and it can seem very unfair. I completely understand that. We've all felt it before, but it's when people think instead of getting their head down and working harder to try climb their way up the ladder and work on their own path, instead they're going to try and degrade someone else's work and something that's working for them. It's just not the way to go about it, and it puts yourself in a very unhealthy mindset, which could actually decrease your productivity, your creativity, and could set you on a slippery slope to be very bitter of the industry itself, where in fact it will just decrease your motivation to the point that you eventually just give up producing altogether. I just feel like it needed to be said in this mistakes because it's something I see a lot more often now. Especially there is this music producer called, I think it's Sides is how you pronounce it. She's been absolutely killing it on the content side, but she is subject to a lot of hate comments, which she regularly makes people aware of on her stories, which I think is very good too, because you've really got to show the toxic side of this game, as this just doesn't benefit anyone, especially the person leaving the comment. Okay, the last tip that I'm going to give you, and you're probably sick of me saying this if you're someone who watched the channel recently, but it's not niching. Because that is probably one of the most important things you can do now if you want to find success as a music producer, is to niche yourself. Because we're in such an overly saturated market nowadays, because there are more producers than ever, and that's only going to get worse, which means there's going to be more competition no matter what you're doing. So now more than ever, the cry to be as original as possible and to focus on very specific things is more important than ever. As I always say, you'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond, because if you're a small fish in a big pond, you're just going to be completely sounded out by the rest of the big fish in the industry who are getting most of the exposure. It's almost like you could say for the whole fact, this lovely statistic I always like to say is 80% of the world's worth is held by 20% of the population, and that is the same for any sort of work, business, and you really got to think about that. So if you can create your own market where you can target people in who you know be interested in a specific service that you really specialize in, then you're more likely to find success nowadays. And again, that is just my opinion, but that is what's worked for me and allowed me to be a full-time self-employed music producer. So all I can do is say that to you in the hope that it works for you too. And if it doesn't, feel free to comment below if you think there is a better way to approach trying to grow as a music producer in 2023, especially going into 2024. So yeah guys, that is the 5 mistakes I believe music producers are making. Again, this is all just a matter of opinion, so please let me know in the comments below what you think any other mistakes music producers are making, or if you're a differing opinion to what I've said in this video, then please comment below and I'll be happy to chat with you in the comments. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button as well. If you're not subscribed to the channel, keep making music, of course, and I'll see you in the next video.